It's the Sunday service. The super dance key. Dystopia warning. Dooby dooby doob dooby doo.
Hello, and welcome back to the Sunday service. Sorry, I've just eaten a sweet, and it's under my tongue. Ooh, said the bishop to the child. Thank you all for tuning in. It's going to be, as a heads up, a slightly more subdued Sunday service than usual. For the simple reason that I'm just double checking that I think I'm echoey again. No, I'm not. I'm all right. For the very simple reason that the radicalisation that is sweeping the country at the moment has actually reached my back door, my own family, actually. So I'm just going to bring up the chat for a second. Just going to see who we've got in tonight. So we have Diz, the faithful mod. Oh, faithful mod Diz, how are you? We have Sarah Davis, we have Richard Grumpy Git, we have Urine Infectinov, we have Chris C. So, my question to you, dear listeners, is how are you feeling about the Festival of Fash that took place over the weekend, yesterday? Personally, I was disturbed before it even began. And watching it, I felt like physically ill. Like it put a kind of like pain in my stomach to watch it like unfold. I've never seen so many people marching against their basic interests like I saw at that event. It was like, I don't know how to describe it. It was a bit like, it really reminded me of the Brexit days, except a million times worse. Got some people replying, horrified and terrified, says Jodie Bobble. It gave me a pain. It made me a pain. It gave me a pain in my stomach, and it was, of course, naturally violent. But the thing that I find the most disturbing about it all is that the people that are involved in it just have absolutely no semblance of reality. Like, they know that they're lying about things, but they lie about things anyway, because it's like America, want to own the libs and all that stuff. But there's people that I know and have known in the past who you would never associate with any type of far-right opinion, who have never shown it before, who are showing it now. And of course, it all comes back to the drip, drip, drip of misinformation, of radicalisation, of focusing on the base feelings, on trying to bring out that kind of like tribal feeling, that none of it's all feeling. None of it is based on facts. None of it is based on reality. It's all about people being made to feel afraid of some kind of common enemy. And as we all know, when it comes to crimes like the kind that they claim that they're fighting against, the biggest perpetrators, the common perpetrator, there's only one common denominator in those crimes globally. 90+% of stats globally, there's one common denominator, and that is men. And the vast majority in the mid-80s of those offences that are committed in Britain are committed by white native-born men. So it has been pushed as a fear factor. It has been co-opting things that they have never given a solitary shit about before. These men don't appear at vigils. These men don't fundraise for refuge. I did, raised £8,000 for them last year. They don't give a toss about women. And if you want to know that this is actually about misogyny instead of being about, caring about our women, all you've got to do is disagree with them and see what happens. If you want to know what a reform government would be like, if these twats got their way, disagree with them. Try and get them to prove a point. Then look at what happens when you do. Because caring about women isn't dependent upon whether or not they agree with you. And if you want to know, if you really want to see the mask come off with a guy, if you want to test to see whether or not he's progressive, look at how he behaves towards a woman he doesn't like. And that will give you the answer. Urine Infectinov says, I watched the coverage of the Patriot, inverted commas, march, and it was like an extended episode of Crime Watch. So was the lineup. Now, in terms of the speakers that were at this march, right, they're all claiming that this march wasn't far right. No, it was about patriotism and fucking the flag. No, it wasn't far right at all. Okay then. Let's take a little look at some of the speakers. Oh yeah, Ant Middleton kicked the crap out of a female police officer and a male police officer who they thought was dead on account of how hardcore Ant Middleton beat up that guy. And he smashed the face in of a female officer too. Doesn't like it when you mention that online though. So the lineup, the litany of people at this definitely not far right march. Morten Messerschmidt, he's been on my radar for a while because he's a Danish fascist that Nigel Farage aligned with. When Farage was supposed to be protecting British interests, when he was an apparent MEP, right? He wasn't doing any work for British fisheries. He wasn't doing any work for Britain. He was pretending to be a protester, but really he was just taking the money and getting on the gravy train. But all that time, he was aligning with far-right figures in Europe. And what are most of the far-right figures in Europe doing? Tacitly working for Putin. So, Morten Messerschmidt, also linked to Trump. And Bannon was supposed to be there, I think, but didn't turn up. I think Jordan Peterson didn't turn up either. Morten Messerschmidt amplifies the shit out of Tommy, little tiny Tommy, little Stephen Yaxley Lennon. So Morten Messerschmidt in 2002 got a suspended jail sentence for publishing material that appeared to suggest a link between multi-ethnic society, rape, violence and forced marriages. And in 2007, he temporarily left the Danish People's Party after a newspaper accused him of praising Adolf Hitler. He won a lawsuit against the paper's editor and a journalist after the court accepted his explanation that it was just a joke. Yeah. Speaker Philip de Winter, 62, senior figure in Belgium's Vlaams Belang party, I think I've said that wrong, which promotes Flemish nationalism and strict immigration control. Guess what he did in 2001? Well, he was reportedly a speaker at a gathering of former SS collaborators, telling them, "My honour is loyalty." Does that sound familiar to anyone that's read Mein Kampf? Well, it should, because it was the SS motto in the Second World War. This year, he was accused of using a similar phrase and posing with a fascist flag. But no. It is definitely not a far-right march. It's all about concerned citizens. They're not concerned when white nonce though, are they? Talking of which, that's most of the fucking EDL. Other speakers apparently included a German politician facing a criminal probe over Kremlin bribe claims, a Danish MEP who jokingly used the Nazi greeting, and a Belgian politician who used the official motto of... Oh, that's what I just said. Another speaker German MEP Peter Bistron, he's accused of receiving payments from the pro-Russian website Voice of Europe in return for his commitment to speak and vote in the interests of the fucking Kremlin. So they're just the foreign, but they're okay because they're white. They're just the foreign speakers from Europe. Virtually all of them have been associated with like the literal epitome, the daddy of the far right, Mr. Hitler. I've never called him Mr. before. Very odd. Mein Führer, not mine. And a number of the far right in Europe are strongly associated with the Kremlin. And Vance and Musk were wrapped up with I think it was a Georgian. I forget it because there's so much corruption. They were closely aligned with I'll say European for now because I'll have to look it up, European politician who was directly working for Putin. So he was working in the interests of Putin in Europe. Now, do you think that this sounds patriotic, foreign interference in our politics? Do you think that another friend of Putin, Elon Musk, who has regular phone calls with him and was trying to incite violence and us overthrowing a democratically elected government, who has also appeared with the I always say ADF, but I think it's AFD. He's also appeared at their Nazi rally via video link. He appeared via video link at this rally too, trying to overthrow the democracy, because what he's doing, in my opinion, I suspect that what he's doing is interfering in European politics on behalf of Putin. So, well fucking patriotic, isn't it? So patriotic. Someone just said in the chat, your mum looks like Paul O'Grady. That's not a bad thing. Paul O'Grady was a legend. So they're the speakers. The attendees are frankly brainwashed by fear. Brainwashed by fear, brainwashed by disinformation, which is being flooded 24/7, 365 by very rich people who wish to influence them. Imagine getting your information from a Cambridge Analytica-ridden app like Facebook or a meme. Philip Birchall, if you're gonna write lefties, could you at least write it the correct way? I know that you lot sometimes struggle with that really badly. God, I'm taking a leaf out of your book. Dan just said something very interesting in the chat, which is the only leader so far to call out Musk is Ed Davey, and that is exceedingly true. Sorry, I've just realised I've missed a super chat from really early on from Richard Grumpygit. Thank you for the £5 super chat. Richard says, cheekily, contribution towards the Technan. I thank you for your contribution towards my ongoing dementia. It has been noted. Thank you. I appreciate it. So we have a problem here, and one of the biggest problems of all is, well, it began when, as this Labour government has consistently, Starmer bowed to the pressure of the right-wing media and removed Sue Gray from her post as Chief of Staff and put in Morgan, might as well be a fucking reformer, McSweeney, as the Chief of Staff. So that's where it all began. And we have like a prime minister that's like a meat puppet for the whims, the mad whims of Morgan McSweeney, Maurice Glassman, a Labour lord who isn't remotely Labour. I don't know how he managed to wing that. Their inaction is unforgivable on this. He came out today and said something very brief and wishy-washy on Twitter about flags not being about, it's a patriotic symbol. It's not like, it should be wielded by thugs, etc. Paraphrasing. That's not enough, mate. A cursory tweet. And if he was to look at the comments below that tweet in which he got ratioed, the Prime Minister of Great Britain got ratioed by the unstoppable bot farm on Twitter, the unstoppable troll and bot farms that are giving this illusion of mass consensus in the easily fooled, right? If he looked at those comments, he would see that the very people, through his failed strategy, that he is trying to appeal to or placate, fucking hate him. There were people calling of him on camera with their whole chest. So it was a dark festival of nonsense. Sorry, I just got distracted. Blah blah CW. Thank you for the super chat. I think you might want a few more mods today. Look, Diz, thank you for modding. To be honest with you, if you can't keep up, mate, you can't keep up. It's not going to affect me too much. Because I'm telling you, I don't know how to make people a moderator. Let me just double check. One moment. Oh shit. Okay. I don't know how to make someone a mod. 1 second, sorry. I'm doing a Johnson. Forgive me. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. 1 moment. I'm trying to figure out who it was that just offered that. Yeah, Chris C. It's not. Okay, I know how to do it now. Thank you, Chris. I've added you. Okay. Back in the game. But look, to be honest with you, after what I faced for the last 48 hours for daring to repeat the words that were used by Charlie Kirk, who all of these fascists have now leapt upon, when most of them probably didn't even know who he was before he got live on my stream last week. Actually, that was an intense moment. The sheer volume that other women, men too, have been facing from the radicalized MAGA lot and the MAGA UK lot, aka Reform, Robinson, Shaggers, etc. So, Graham Small, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Just for identifying McTweeny as the cock up in Labour just now. Well, he is. To be honest with you though, Starmer shouldn't be so obviously he, all prime ministers have advisors, but this is Cummings level. Even Johnson had the temerity to get rid of Dominic Cummings the moment that he realised that it was all going a bit tits up. Now, I don't know, because people have been modding, whether or not there is something really bad happening in the chat or not, but we are the mods. Right, I'm just catching up on the chat, sorry. But no, it's been really grim. It's been a very very grim 24 to 48 hours. For me personally as well, it's not been very fun because not only was I kind of like watching the nightmare unfold, but I was also having to deal with something extremely personal and grim. So I couldn't go to the counter demo, the Stand Up to Racism counter demo. Such were the level of threats that I was receiving from all these Protect Our Women lot, right? And I'm talking like credible, detailed threats across every single platform, in comments, in email, via direct messaging, etc. So that I was receiving that level of abuse and threat, which obviously spun my already quite nervous system out pretty badly, as it would anyone. And I put a kind of like story on my Instagram, and then that went on to my Facebook, and my Facebook's closed down. Only like family members or people that I know in real life are those that I interact with there. And it didn't go well. But before I go on to that, Urine Infectionov says, thank you for the super chat. Charlie says good night and sends his love to you in the chat. Good night, Charlie. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Oh my God, my camera has just turned itself off because I waved. What the fuck? What is going on? Oh my God, hang on a minute. I need to get... Oh, for fuck's sake, man. Right, that's better. Right, I'm going to have to bring the chat up on my phone because I have no internet. Anyway, good night, Charlie. Apologies for losing the stream of consciousness there. Grant Sloan, thank you for the £2 super chat. So sorry to hear that, Tan. Oh, it gets worse. Yeah, it gets worse. So not only was I dealing with the slew of abuse, I mean horrific threats. Pretty much the worst shit you could ever say to a woman was being thrown my way, right? En masse by hundreds of these cowards in an hour. Like, we're talking, relentless stream. So I put it on my Instagram story. It feeds through into your story on Facebook because it just links itself without you wanting it to. Now, I received some very kind messages from some of my family, from like some of my friends. They were like, God, the natural reaction to that is, that's disgraceful. You shouldn't be facing that. One particular family member took it upon himself to start spamming my timeline by tagging me with far-right videos featuring figures from the far right. So in essence supporting them, despite knowing and having seen that I was facing shocking threats. And earlier on in the day, I'd put up a thing on Facebook saying, look, if you're thinking of going to this march, just unfriend me. And a few people did. A bunch of guys that I grew up with who were all broke as hell, football fans, going down the pub on a Saturday, playing some pool, watching some football, just normal working class guys, totally buying this shit. So I thought that would weed them out. But then, yeah, my own uncle, my own flesh and blood, started spamming me with videos of far right figures. So I gave him a very forthright verbal post-mortem via direct message, and then I blocked him. And I was extremely distressed because it's bad enough getting it online without people that... I literally grew up with that guy. My parents were quite young when they had me. He was my nan's eldest. So he was like... He hung out with us socially loads when we were younger. I told my brother, who was furious, and had a word with him. And then he started threatening to violently attack my brother. To the point where I had to contact the police. So as well as dealing with the police not really taking seriously any form of abuse towards me, and I had to change my plans on the day of the march, rather than them, I don't know, arresting the known criminals, I was stuck at home. And then I had men in my own family doing this, and essentially very close members of my immediate family victim blaming me for speaking out about it on Facebook and naming him and saying, look, this is what he's done, which I don't do often. So here we go. That's literally having to do that. It's not just bots, Helmhurst, in the chat. It is, some of these were actual people who are known to police. Okay, Hazel Hun, £3 super chat. Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. I appreciate it. If you've got a strange message to WhatsApp from Super Tansky, look at how many followers that account has. I don't do that. Not least because I've got raging ADHD and I can barely keep up with the messages I do receive from my friends. So I'm not about to open a WhatsApp group and invite even more people in. It's just not gonna fucking happen. So there's a lot of people, there's a few people saying they've got similar family. These people are like, not family that I've ever, like, not recently really had much to do with. They are, you know, they're not my kind of people, to put it very mildly and very politely. They seemed, but they are all like council house, you know, minimum wage job or just over minimum wage job. Not rich, didn't leave school with many qualifications, are easily drawn in by Facebook memes and would take it at face value, you know, easily led, don't really think for themselves. And they are the prime targets of people like Robinson, and prime targets for people like Farage, who is laughing his arse off about all of this. But for someone to be so caught up in all that bullshit to the extent that they unfriend someone they've known since they were a kid, or they lay into and antagonise their own niece, and in the case of my uncle, threatened to turn up at my brother's house where his children are and drag him out the house and attack him. That's a whole new level. That's shit getting very real. And it has been shocking to watch unfold, you know. Even if he doesn't agree with what I say, he should accept that I deserve to say it. You know, this is what they've all been saying about Charlie Kirk, isn't it? I should be able to say it without the threat of violence or my life being taken. But it only applies to them. Free speech is only speech they want. You know. Free speech is only the speech that they think that, or they agree with. That's the only kind of free speech there is. Freedom from consequences for saying what you think and expressing yourself only applies to the far right. Because the moment that anyone pushes back, they get it in spades. And that's the unbelievable fucking hypocrisy of these people. They are resistant to any form of sense or any logic. Play with feathers, your arse is going to get tickled. Tell that to Charlie Kirk. Yeah? Alice Sturmkerm, thank you for the £2 super chat. So sorry you went through that, Tan. Disgusting. Thank you for modding tonight, mate. And I appreciate your kind words. This is good. A lot of people are going to start seeing this. For me, I don't have any tolerance for people that are like this. Now, this morning, my auntie on the same side of the family, my mum's side of the family, she shared without comment my post about my uncle, right? I thought, okay, don't know whether or not you're doing that in solidarity, doubt it, or if you're doing it to try and prove a point, right? So I thought, okay, I'll scroll her timeline. I never really use Facebook. So I scrolled down. What did I see? Videos from Turning Point UK. We're taking our country back videos. Turning Point UK, right? That is the UK version of what Charlie Kirk was doing in America. And what was Turning Point USA all about? Basically, it was like Trump's Hitler Youth. He radicalized loads of young kids via God and politics and dumping like millions into like apps for exposure, because you pay for exposure on those apps. And he paid for reach and he reached them. And he made loads of kids into maggots, and that's exactly what Reform's doing here. And Turning Point UK is just as racist, just as shocking. So there we go. Right, I'm going to catch up with the chat because I am extremely far behind. Yeah, sorry guys, it's not me. If you're getting a friend request, no offense. I'm sure that I would love to have a pint with you all. But it's I get about 50 of people impersonating me a week, and I can't keep up with them because the fuckers block me. So I'm just kind of catching up on the chat a bit here. Kirsty Hamilton, thank you, darling, for the 199 super chat. We in the chat support you, Tan. I love you guys. I've had offers of surrogate mothers and brothers and family members, because I'm now on Threads. I'm weaning myself off of Twitter because fuck that. It is just the dead internet theory in action. So I've had, lovely people. And I wasn't looking forward to my stream tonight because this time yesterday I was just an exhausted, frazzled mess, So, but you guys are cheering me up and giving me an opportunity to get it off my chest. So thank you. You're safe now, yeah, says Joe David. I'm as safe as the men that want to attack me will let me be, as ever. I reckon so. But no, my brother was amazing. My brother talked me down from my panic attack. He's never victim blamed me. He's never sat there and gone, why do you do it? He's always listened to what I have to offer. He was talking in disdain about the people that he's seen falling for it. He's sending me videos going, this is what Tell shared. This is what Rich shared. Like, look at this. And I explained to him also the way that Elon Musk and Tate, etc., are weaponizing the death of the Ukrainian woman in America. Grant Sloan, thank you for the £5 super chat. I called my brother a working class Tory years ago. He hasn't spoke to me since. You're much more stronger than you think, Tam. Well, you have to be to be a woman doing this. Like, we get, like, all the guys that I know get it a million times worse. I get it a million times worse than them, sorry. Simon Metcalf, free speech comes with a cost. For some more than others, eh? More so for women. Yeah. More so for women, because no man I know has ever got threatened with rape. So, fuck hell? Marvin Richard. I'll be a private dancer, dancing for money. Thank you so bloody much for the £200 super chat. I don't think I've ever had a super chat that big. That's what she said. Wow, thank you. Thank you. I don't know how to thank you for that, like in a legal way. Wow, okay. So Marvin Richards said, it's been a difficult week. You are capitalised, the female Spartacus. I am Spartacus. I'm not sure how many diazes this gets. Fucking hell. Yeah, if I could get hold of more, I would, but they're very stingy with them. But have another cup of tea and some downtime. Thanks, babes. You are more red than I am, more eloquent than I am, more humorous than I am, and you have my total respect. Thank you. God, I don't know how to respond to that. That almost made me well up. I don't think anyone's ever given me one that big. That's what she said. No, but thank you so much, honestly. Like, I don't know what to say now. Wow. Was not expecting that. Thank you. If I keep talking about how big it is, I'm going to end up getting the kind of like, oh, you're a politically themed, fully clothed OnlyTans, aren't you? Trying to coax in all the divorced dads. Sorry for doing my Darren voice. But Marvin Richards, I think, is a Brummie based on what he said. So you get to have my terrible attempt at a Brummie accent. Brummie. Thank you. Like, I don't know how to thank you. That's really lovely. Forgotten what I was bloody talking about now. Because there was a big one in the chat. Stop it. Hey, love your show, says Sam Seed. Thank you, Sam Seed. That's a brilliant name. You sound like someone out of a comic book. Tim Pradva, your story about your family member really touched me, Tana. I'm so sorry you have to put up with so much hate. Look, I found a way to cope with it about 5 years ago. Otherwise, I would have stopped the moment I started. I had to find a way. Otherwise, I would have given up. All women face this, no matter what they're talking about online. You have to realise that what's thrown at us. This week, the Charlie Kirk, Tommy Robinson lot have been photoshopping my pictures to make me look, you know, this is how big I am. They've been trying to make me look clinically obese in photos. So, but it's the poorest Photoshop I've ever seen. But they're telling on themselves, because not only is that obvious misogyny, who gives a fuck what size I am? Not that I am clinically obese, evidently. In fact, I've been on a weight loss journey. There's an irony in that. But they're showing also that they will believe fucking anything. It's like you're believing a evidently really badly photoshopped meme. I wonder how you got here. Wonder how you ended up on the far right if you believe that shit. You know? Fucking hell. I had the same problems with my low IQ family around Brexit, says Rock Show. Excellent name, by the way. Thank you, Chris Murphy. Tommy Wiley. Tommy Wiley says, here's some money to get yourself a bodyguard. I wonder who I could get to be my bodyguard for a tenner. Probably one of my cats. My cat would just walk away. You know, he'd just be like, if you feed me now, do what you want with her, you know. Maybe not Fred. Oh, neither Edie. But no, thank you so much again, Marvin. I mean, I'm just blown away by that. I don't know how to thank you. Merlin Pruce, excellent name. How do you donate? You can do a like super chat. It's like a little thing in the corner with a little symbol on it. If you wanna send a message, you can do it that way if you want to. No press. So Turning Point. It is Turning Point. Some are saying Charlie Kirk's, was a turning point. And I'm not even making a joke. I mean, do you know what really pisses me off about this? Do you know what really fucking annoys me, right? Charlie Kirk, right? Don't agree with what happened to him. Because, we on the left know what happens when you start letting political violence run rampant. Everyone dies, right? So it's not just me having to say, don't agree with it. Of course I fucking don't, because I could be at risk too, We could all be at risk of having that happen to us. It breeds more violence, especially when it happens to someone like him who was an extremist. And he was a white supremacist, misogynistic, extremist piece of shit, right? Didn't like him. Did he deserve to die? Fuck no. Of course he didn't. Of course he didn't. No. Of course he didn't. But they're all laying into me for dispassionately relaying events with facts, okay? I thought of about 10 jokes within a second. My humour is dark. Very dark. And me and a bunch of other people that I know, sometimes we don't even share with each other how dark our jokes are, right? I'd already thought of about 70 different ways to piss take that. Did I? No, because it's a shit thing to do. And they're laying in for me for saying the really mild thing. There's no justice in this world. Turning Point. Keep saying Turning Point. Right, I'm catching up on the chat a little bit. Tan, I hope you called the police. They don't do anything most of the time when I do. So, there's no point. This is the first time that they've even considered taking something seriously, and it was a threat towards my brother. I doubt anything's even going to come from the threats that I received the other day. They don't give a fuck about women because they're institutionally misogynistic. Only little Tommy would attack you, says Sam Seed. He'd need his fucking stepladder. And I'm 5'4". Jodie Bobble, thank you for the very specific £3.33 super chat. I love that. Fuck those fascists, says Jodie. I agree. Punchy Boy 76, if there was a general election tomorrow, would you back Starmer again, even though he's right wing? I didn't necessarily back Starmer to begin with. I backed tactical voting. I voted Labour in my area, and that was for my local MP. You know what I mean? That's how it works. Alan Jackson, thank you for the £10 super chat. Tansky, you are amazing for what you do, considering the bleep that you have to put up with. Sadly, it shows that they're scared of you, otherwise why try to silence you? A lot of these guys that are like this don't need much of an excuse to attack women. No, they're literal domestic abusers, a lot of them. So, they don't need an excuse. My own family members, that was a shock. But, again, they're not really people that I would consider family anyway. I've not seen most of them in years. Because they're twats. Okay, I'm just trying to catch up. Someone just said, I'll be Tony Curtis. And that's actually probably one of my favourite comments that I've ever seen. Keith Donaki. I've watched the hate you are getting on Twitter, and it's shocking. Like many of us, I guess, we're terrified of drawing attention. Yeah, the Streisand effect is real. X is turning into the dark web. It is the dark web, and it has been for some time. It's always been bad. But it's getting worse. Right, I've got a lot to catch up on. Urine infection of Charlie keeps coming in to wave at you, Supertansky. You're a bad influence on a sleepy child. Keep your dad up, Charlie. Stay awake until midnight. Give him hell. Give him hell. Charlie, drink a coffee. I'm so sorry. Ivan Ambrose, thank you very much for the 1999 super chat, my darling. I've never heard of Charlie Kirk before because I rarely engage with American politics to safeguard my mental health. Yeah, me too. And my autism. Not me too, more ADHD, stroke, at the world. He shouldn't be dead, but he should have gone to prison for the rest of his life. Yeah, possibly. I mean, that was never going to happen in Trump's America. He was instrumental in winning Trump the election. He bussed people in to stop the Steele events. I knew of him before, mostly because I'd been watching just a few weeks before, and also I knew about the Turning Point Association. But literally just weeks before, I saw a young woman from England rip him a new one in a debate, and it was really nice to watch because he was just a college dropout, right? He was recruited by Trump as a college dropout. He wasn't an academic. He spread conspiracies. He spread lies. Much like the far right here, who are all taking huge leaves out of the books of a huge leaf out of the book of people like Trump and MAGA, etc. So, yeah, it's a lot of people hadn't, but I had, purely because of the research that I had been doing into the far right. And the reason that I found out about Charlie Kirk when doing that is because there is an international Messerschmitt, Farage, Robinson, Trump, Musk. There's an international far-right network, along with a bunch of other, like, aforementioned literal Nazi European leaders and MEPs. So Farage didn't moan about the fact that the European Union MEPs, loads of them are actual fascists. No, he liked that. He just and I was talking to my brother about this yesterday, explaining it to him, because he's he likes to listen and learn about it all, or he tells me he does. He just puts up with me ranting. But I was trying to explain to him the obvious links to Putin, and he's like, "But why would Putin give a toss about whether or not Britain's in the EU?" And I was like, look at what it's done. It has weakened us. Economically, it's weakened our power on the global stage. It's fucked us in terms of trading. And in the process, radicalised loads of people over to the far right, which causes political unrest. It was instrumental in shaking Britain and making it weaker. And loads of Vote EU were strongly linked to Putin in the run-up to the referendum. Went to Russia, talked with them. And what was Brexit? Brexit was, as described by Carol Cadwallader, the Petri dish for Trump. So they were trying it out. And who was supposed to be speaking at Stephen Yaxley Lennon's march? Bannon, Cambridge Analytica, all that crap, intrinsically linked to the Vote Leave campaign, all of it. And it was a dry run for how easily you can make people vote against their best interests. And then in 2020, boom, it worked with Trump. And my brother was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I know. And he was like, how do they get away with it? And I was like, I don't know, because they're doing it in plain sight. Because, I don't know, why were the Tories taking so much money from Russians? Just a girl, 101. I'm just a girl. Thank you for everything you do, Tan. I feel your pain. I live next door to someone's flag shagger of an absent father. You are not alone. I'm lucky my street's not riddled with shagged flags, so I feel very lucky about this. Merlin Proust, thank you for the €1.99 super chat. No message. Stephen Merriman, hello. Thank you for the €5.99 super chat. Lord Rothermere launched Daily Mail's campaign for British Union fascists on January the 15th, 1934, feted by aristocrats, conservative politicians. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, of course. Of course, it's always the bloody way. It's always the way. The Tories have been intrinsically linked with fascism since their fucking infancy. D. Wright. R. White. Thank you very much for your kind super chat. No message. Marvin Richard. How do I donate without paying 33 quid tax? I don't know what you're referring to, Marvin. I don't know what you're referring to, my friend. You're having to time out a lot of people. Are we getting a lot of problems, mods, in the chat? I'm going to try and get through these a little bit quicker. Merlin Bruce, thank you again for your very kind super chat. I really appreciate it. Phyllis Glassup. That is a brilliant surname. As is the name Merlin Bruce. You sound like a composer. Philip Glassup, when you get shite from morons, it means you're doing something right. It also means that you're living in a deeply, deeply misogynistic society. They do this to women, whatever they do. Like, there's women that have faced it that have decorating accounts. You know, poverty campaigners. If you're a bloody decorator. You're an infecting of. See, bloody bad influence. Charlie doesn't need coffee to keep me awake at night. Just hyper focus. Yeah, I feel you, my friend. I feel you. Yeah, he was kirked at the Cambridge debate. Yeah. Absolutely. I can't remember the name of the woman, but she was brilliant. I think she was on Politics Joe recently, just talking about owning Kirk, actually. Not that it's particularly difficult. I think it was smiles per capita was what he was referring to whilst trying to claim that women are happier when they're barefoot and pregnant and servicing men. Fuck off. Fuck off. Ivan Ambrose, thank you. We have to be careful. Not all Brexiteers are the same. It's really unhelpful to tie everyone with the same brush. Not every Brexiteer, not everyone that voted leave. I can't remember the phrase now, the will self phrase. The vast majority of them, as I've said repeatedly in the past, they are, loads of them were conned. If they still believe that it's the right thing to do, they're pricks. Absolute pricks. I don't like it, but thank you, Ivan. I don't really agree that talking about people in general terms is tarring everyone with the same brush. If it doesn't apply to people, it doesn't, they should know that it doesn't apply to them. But endless trolling as always, says Chris C. Oh, God. Shit. You get an insight, do you, into what I have to deal with by doing this? Yeah. It's a tricky one, really, because I've lost all patience with this. I've got a very low tolerance. A very low tolerance. But my Charlie Kirk video is flying. And in that video, I kind of outline the reality of Charlie Kirk because... and the hypocrisy of people that have been participating in colonialism for centuries, that have land grabbed, that have killed natives, daring to get all uppity about political violence when there were two sets of couples that were murdered in June that were Democrats. And not just Democrats, but they were key figures in terms of keeping that as a kind of it was a level balance. Basically, their deaths would benefit Trump. Nobody said a word about that. No one condemned political violence from the right when that happened, did they? It's a hypocrisy that really fucks me off, man. Chris, thank you for the £5 super chat. Keep up the good work, Tan. Enjoy your content. Us Scousers are behind you. I bloody love Scousers. Much like my good friend Graham. What a legend. Stephen Merriman, they all voted Brexit. They have that in common. I'm really behind. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. Aslan Castanet. I just say Castanet? Castanets. Oh, it might be Castanets. Thank you for the super chat. I really wish I could afford to give you more. Stay strong and keep up your amazing work. You don't have to, like nobody has to, but thank you. I don't want anyone to ever feel like they must, because we're the ones that are in it together, aren't we? Very much so. Thank you. Appreciate it. Nobody has to, like C Clues is saying, nobody is obligated to, oh my god, I've set my tiny off. That's what she said. Nobody is obligated to do it. So I've made it to the end of the chat. Yes, I've made it. And now we've come to the end of the road, and I can't let go. But what I was also talking to my brother about, someone has just said something in the chat, which is a neat little segue. Jane West, you have kind of given me a link to my segue, right? What gets me is the trolls go on about Muslims being misogynist. Kirk wanted child rape victims to be denied abortions due to his religion, but that gets a pass. Abso-fucking-lutely. And what I was talking to my bro about, because I was talking to him about radicalization, and I was trying to say to him, look, if someone, I put arguments to him. I was like, okay, let me give you an example here. And I could tell that he thought that I was talking about like Islamist extremists, right? I said, how would you feel if someone, do you think it's extreme for a guy to say that if his daughter gets R-worded and pregnant and she's 10, that she should carry the baby? Is that extremist to you? Do you think that pushing a theory that people are being replaced by different races, do you think that's extreme? Do you think it's extreme to make extremely racist comments? And he was like, yeah, it is. I was like, okay, cool. That was said by a right-wing extremist. I said, do you think it's like a sign of radicalization if people are believing absolute bullshit, that's obvious bullshit that could be disproven with a Google, but they're refusing to accept that it's true, right? They're refusing to listen to the facts when they come in. And if they're prompted to be violently react to that, is that extremist? Yeah. I said, that's what the right are doing, but the only people that they focus on when it comes to extremism are like brown Muslim Islamist extremists, right? It's the same thing. What we're seeing play out with Robinson's lot on the streets in terms of them hounding and harassing vulnerable people inside hotels every weekend. What we're seeing in terms of them violently attacking people on the left that they disagree with, punching up people that stand up to racism counter demo, like breaking through kettles, screaming violently at them, throwing, bloody bottles at them, punching them in, hitting the shit out of coppers, right? They are radicalized. It is extremism. And the only reason that people aren't taking any action on it in terms of like the government, etc., the reason they're not doing it is because it's white men doing it. If say, look at what happened in Oldham. In Oldham, a few days ago, a Sikh woman was raped by two white far-right men at 8:30 in the morning who, as they violated her, told her to go home. Is that everywhere? Two white men doing that to a Sikh woman in a racially aggravated rape. Is that... would you say that is level-headed? Or would you say that's the behaviour of radicalised extremists? Is that all over the news? How, unless it's come from one of us, have you seen that anywhere? No, you have not. But what you have seen is one instance of a schizophrenic killing a Ukrainian woman. Men killing women is not a novel concept to women. We know about it. 3 of us are killed per week by a man we thought we could love and trust. It's not fucking new. But what's different is who is made an example of for doing it. And it's never white men. It's never publicised. The people behind far-right extremism and Islamist extremism are the same people. They're the very same people. They are rich hate preachers. They are inevitably, every time loaded, rich as fuck. And who are their targets? Disaffected, majority young men, or men broadly, who are looking for a purpose, a sense of brotherhood, something to fight for, fighting for their cultural identity. What's the difference between an Islamist extremist fighting for his identity as a Muslim man and a radicalized right-wing man fighting for his identity as a British man? They're both violent. They're both driven to extremes. Neither will absorb anything else in terms of like logic or fact because they're brainwashed. And there we are. And there we are. That is the similarity. It is the same fucking thing, but only one type of person, one demographic, one culture is made an example of. The head of Prevent was a Islamophobe under the Conservative government, a known Islamophobe. Neil Basu, who I massively respect, who was the former head of counter-terrorism in Britain, the first ever black man to have that position. A guy that was never going to make the head of the police because Priti Patel wouldn't accept him talking about how there is white privilege. And she told him as such. He called what happened as the former head of counter-terrorism in Britain last year, terrorism. It was on the front page of some newspapers because it was terrorism. And that's why that dickhead, Lucy Connolly, was arrested for racially aggravated or racial incitement because she's an extremist. So she was fueling it. This was, Asian men were being dragged out of their cars. Black people at random were being punched in the street. Kids were directing traffic according to race. People of colour felt too scared to go out. Many do now. Those flags are not being flown as a symbol of pride. They are being flown as a symbol of aggression and intimidation. And there is no difference between Dave from the pub with the beer belly, putting away a packet, going up to London, getting on the train, getting rowdy, and trying to fight lefties, as there is a young Muslim extremist. They're both British, but people like Robinson, people like Elon Musk, people like Tate, all cunts, are trying to make you think that there is a difference in terms of their nationality on accordance of their skin colour or their background. Doesn't work like that. Anywho, I've got to go back a little bit here. Phyllis Glassup, again, great name. Trump really needed a really big distraction to stop everyone talking about Epstein like someone being shot or something. I mean, I posted about this and GB News people leapt on me for it. I said, broadly, not just in the context of Kirk, although I said it in the aftermath of Kirk, something along the lines of, if you think that Trump wouldn't do something like this, you're a moron, frankly, if you think he wouldn't. I would put nothing past him. He is above the law. That's what happens when you become a prime minister or a president. You are above the law firmly. And they were all like, how could you say that? Because the worst things that are happening in this world are happening in plain sight. And with him in control of basically every fucking institution in America, because it's now lost to the tangerine fascist, you're not going to get the truth. So the things that you think are conspiracy are normally the things that are like happening plainly. And the conspiracy theorists are all like, oh, don't want to be controlled, but they're believing the narratives of fucking billionaires that are planted in their head through psyops. It's like fucking hyper-normalization overload. Anywho. Kirk didn't want women to vote. Well, I'm not going to say what I was going to say then. I think you can figure it out. Ivan Ambrose, thank you for the super chat. Tan, I completely disagree with your previous response to me, but I know that we all both agree that Elon Musk should do one. Yes, my friend. We should. And it's all right to disagree. It's all right to have a different opinion. I think I've just got really like sick of everyone's shit nowadays after what I've had to wade through. So, yeah, I'm just fucking sick of it. So I've got less of a kind of like moderate response, I guess, but it's all right if we see it differently. Still respect you. Stephen Merriman. No Christian has read the Old Testament. Horrific. Well, Charlie Kirk used to uncritically quote from Leviticus in order to try and be horrible to gay people. Probably a closet case. Most of them are. The lady doth protest too much, methinks. I love seeing a Euro. Love seeing a Euro. Kim A. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Tan. You're a true Brit. We are fair people. We're the real patriots, man, because we see this shit show unfolding and we're going, that is a foreign interference job. Like a blatant foreign interference job. Like, so obvious. Like, the money is exchanging hands. There are records of it. But I was showing like all the actual literal Nazis that were kind of supporting and speaking at Robinson's March, right? Oh, well, that's from a lefty paper. That's not how fucking journalism works. These fascists from America, these fascists from Europe, right? They're minted. And why are they minted? Because they're fucking fascist, right? If the Mirror was wrong, that would have been pulled from print because they would get sued for it. Journalists are regulated. Some dickhead, myself included, on YouTube isn't regulated. But if I was talking bullshit, if my facts were not in a row, I would have every dickhead imaginable, because I'm a woman, correcting the shit out of me. They even correct me if I say a year wrong. All you would see under my videos is a litany of people providing the facts that I'm missing, especially because of my tits. You don't see that. Because I am a stickler for facts. I also correct myself if I'm wrong. Because I'm ADHD as fuck and a bit OCD about kind of correcting things, and it has to be in order, you know. So yeah, like, that's the difference. Stephen Merriman, €2.49 super chat. God prohibited use of yeast 34 times. Law on R wording 0. Wow. KT says, Starmer is piss weak as leader. This is the result. Can't say I disagree with you. I don't want to even give a shit about what Tommy says. Like, oh, silenced. I fucking wish. I wish that little hobbit was silenced. If I've got a few more viewers than usual, I hope that they're you know, absorbing the facts that are being spoken this evening, as opposed to the absolute fucking ear piss that flies out of that tiny, gacked up little freak. Fucking hate him. He's like the living embodiment of cocaine. Max, you fucking hell, you've done me a blinder here. Max Uspensky. Thank you for the super chat and for the very difficult to pronounce name. You did me a good one there. You did me a good one. I messed it up. I messed it up so bad. Message deleted by Alistair M. Kerr. I'm glad I'm behind with the super chat because you mods, we are the mods, are doing a really great job. David Oglesby. That's a brilliant name. You guys, you all sound like bloody comedy. You've got comedy names. My partner's half Pakistani and she's scared. I'm a working class lad and I feel sick to the stomach to know. I know people are being brainwashed. They really are. And the thing is, like, unless you're really tuned in, like all of us bloody nerds are, because it's like pretty much our job to be tuned into it, and it's also our hyper focus or special interest, right? Because of that, we can see all of the pattern, like we do the pattern recognition. We're like, okay, why might someone like Andrew Tate accuse sex trafficker, serial rapist, like why would he donate £100, £1 million of money that's probably come off the backs of him, you know, fritzeling women? Why would he donate that to the fund of a dead Ukrainian blonde woman who was killed by a schizophrenic black man? Because that situation there, the murderer, shows more than anything how women are failed, because there was a litany of cases where he should have been picked up by law enforcement or the medical profession, and he also attacked his sister. So it's more a tale of how the police force and the medical institutions fail women and him. He's sick, right? He should have been sectioned, or whatever the American equivalent of that is. He shouldn't be free to attack people on buses, should he? Or trains. Anywho, Kim, how do we prepare for what's coming, Tan? Oh, fucking hell, I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to... my leg's gone dead. I'm desperately hoping that the Labour government pulls their finger out, because it's going to have to come from the top. But currently, it's like, to paraphrase the thick of it, it's like Myra Hindley's doing their fucking media training. It's shocking. It's shocking. This is what Joe Strummer was training us for, says James Deacon. White riot. I want a riot. White riot. Fucking love the Clash. I love Clash. I like the Clash. Why do I keep doing Darren's voice? Daily Blase. Mr. Blase. Oh, look, here he is. Fucking hell. Speak of the Northerner, and he shall appear. Good evening, Tan. Chat. Hope everyone is very, very well. I don't do a bad impression of you, and you do a very good impression of Trump. Very impressed. Very, very good. Very fast. Very fast. Okie doke. Ear up, Daily Blase. Don't let the bastards get you down, says Anthony. It's right hard. That was terrible. If Adolf Hitler flew in today, they'd send a limousine anyway. Ivan Ambrose, thank you, Duck. Tan, we disagree sometimes, but we always agree on how to treat each other as human beings. Your channel is free speech as it should be. Damn fucking straight, Ivan, our lad. Fucking losing it. I really agree with you. I'm so sorry, Darren. He always makes me talk like this. I'm glad you didn't go to the march. In the chat tonight, you're seeing why I didn't. Yeah, and this is just in the chat with mods. Imagine what this is like everywhere. And bear in mind, I have 250,000 followers on TikTok. Approaching 70,000 now on YouTube. 220,000, which stopped abruptly when Elon took over, on Twitter. Something like 40 odd thousand a piece on Threads and Blue Sky, and nearly 50,000 on Instagram. So imagine the level of feedback I'm getting. Feedback across all those channels. It's a laugh. Like Jez on Peep Show when he goes to therapy and he cries. This is a laugh. Martin, thank you for the super chat. Not much, but consider employing someone to help keeping you safe from those with not so many brain cells. Yeah, I have to say, Martin, like, I actually do lament being single a bit when these kind of things come up. Because as much as men are a big old pain in the arse and they cause me a lot of problems, they're pretty handy at kneecapping people that mess with you, you know. It makes you feel a bit safer in the night to have a big lump of man. But obviously, like, the men in my life that I have in my life are fantastic men. Like Aid, my dear friend Aid, who does the intro to my channel. Could someone please be a darling for me and pop a link to Aid Thompson and Other Disappointments in the chat? Because if you guys could all give him a follow. He's also made a brand new video, which I haven't yet imported into my OBS, for a quick little rundown that I'm possibly going to start doing on a Wednesday, which is a kind of like fight the fash thing. So Aid Thompson makes my terrible intros, and I love them because I'm like, Aid, can you spend literally 10 minutes on something, make it really shit, because that's the kind of aesthetic that I'm going for. But no, it would be nice to have a big man sometimes. Only sometimes. Keith Donachie, exactly. The disaffected don't follow the shit like us nerds. They're easily led by catchphrases. Yeah, and also there's like an issue with tech literacy. There's an issue with the fact that poorer people are easier targets because they're time poor. They might not have the time to look up something. They might not have the inclination. They might just think if it's there, it's true. There's so many different branches off to this, and the populist right exploit every single one of them. Stephen Merriman, Tommy lives in Spain, has his Irish passport. Brexit. What a cunt. Chris C. I'm back. For some reason, YouTube decided it needed 52 gigabytes of RAM to run. Memory is RAM, to quote Moss. Love the punk references. I fucking love a bit of punk. Crass, just a band, says Scroobius Pip. I disagree. Great, just spat my tea all over my keyboard at the mirror comment. What was the mirror comment? Could have been trolling me. You know, sometimes, you know, if someone does a really good troll, I have to say touche. I'm not as thin-skinned as people think I am. I can't be, or I wouldn't have survived 5 years of this. But if there have been times where I've been like, fair enough, that was a really good troll. But most of the time, it's just not worth it. Is it live? Asked Trevor Owen. Yes, it is. Simon takes off. What an unusual name you have, Simon. Thank you for the super chat. I'm gay and my husband is Vietnamese. I'm scared for both of us so much that we're now seriously looking to emigrate somewhere far away next year. I'm sorry. I hate bigots, like with a passion. I always have. And I'm so sorry that people of different races, that aren't basically white fucking gammons, feel that way. And it's not just a case of feeling that way. It's a case of all the evidence making you afraid because you are being put at risk. So it's not okay. I was also thinking about, considering if I could get out of here. The problem is, the vast majority of the world is under authoritarian rule. Spain is also getting targeted by the far right. They're becoming fascistic too. France is a fucking shambles. They've discovered life on Mars. I think we should deport Elon Musk to Mars. That would make me happy. Fred is, I set that up so Fred could be in frame, and he's not bothered with it tonight. He likes sleeping on my scarf because it smells of me. He's in the other room with Edie. Freddie! Frederick! Freddie! Okay. Dearly blasé, you rang. You do a cracking impression of me. Thanks, Duck. You rang. That wasn't as good, was it? Let me see if I can do the next one. Blue Lion Chelsea. This stream has been really good for my mental health. Great. I'm very happy about that. What are you scared of, says Trevor Owen. Fucking everything. Most things, actually. Tan, the new TOS for TikTok may affect your page. I don't know what that is. Terms of service. I don't use it anymore. I put everything on YouTube. This is my primary platform now. So, you bitches get all of me. I'm doing it for you. Doing it for you all. Aid Thompson, Chris C, fucking legend, has put Aid Thompson's link in chat, as Darren would say. I'm gonna. Oh fuck! I've fucked this up, haven't I? I don't understand how I get away with so much swearing nowadays. It's fucking mad. Oh my god. I can't do that. God, I'm so far away from the end of the chat. And I've just lost a whole bunch of the chat. Right, I'm going to have to bring up my old YouTube studio again. Studio. You're getting all the links tonight. You're getting all the bad singing. You're getting all you could possibly want. Anything you ask for, my pretties, you shall receive. Right, okay, so let me see if... Oh, fuck me, I've missed loads. Okay. DJ. Live chat. I'm getting a bit weird now. I know what you're thinking. Now. How could that be? Right, I'm gonna go through some super chats. Because I've missed a few. Ivan Ambrose, thank you so much, darling. Tan, I have all the empathy in the world for your panic attack, as I suffer from panic attacks myself frequently. They are crippling and debilitating. They are hell on earth, mate. I had a really bad one earlier where my heart felt like it was beating like a fucked clock because of the stress that I've been under the other day, and I always end up getting like a kind of like catch up, a nice little catch up bit. So yeah, they are really bad, and the worst ones are when they happen in public. Like that's the worst element for me. Back at you with the empathy, because it's horrible. You think you're going to actually die, which is always nice, isn't it? Nothing like the terrors that afflict you. Surgit K, thank you for the super chat. You're amazing. Always making good points. Thank you. Thank you for watching, Sergio. I really appreciate you. And Blue Lion Chelsea, £5 super chat. Thank you, darling. I'm feeling much better after this stream. Time to make another coffee now. Well, you'll be joining Yuri Infektinov's son, Charlie, who is probably, at this moment, downing himself a coffee. Because I told him to. You are welcome, Yuri. And here we go live to Scotland, and we see Yuri's son is bouncing off the walls like a bastard. Will he calm down? Nobody knows. Someone just said, Jimmy Savage. Brilliant name. It's Tansky. That's a bit like, it's Britney, bitch. Queen accent, how very proper. Hello, my name is the Queen. My son, Andrew, is a sweaty nonce. And I paid £12 million to pay off his accuser. But everyone just still thinks I'm a sweet old lady, even though I stood by my nonce of a son. Studio. Right, okie dokie, pig and a pokey. Where are we now? Where the fuck are we now? Do you just read comments, or is there an opinion piece, editorial element to this broadcast? Asked Trevor Owen. I have done about 3 separate long form rants this evening in which I've talked about radicalisation, the rise of the far right, the funders behind Robinson's March and or Project Reform. What more do you want? Are you late? Are you late to the party? I think you might have to scroll back a little bit. When it gets to this point in the broadcast, I am feeling fucking frazzled. So I am currently. And also I get so many... I want to interact with you all. I don't want to just sit here and rant at you. That's what my videos are for. So bit from column A, bit from column B. YA super, says Billy Kershaw. Have to see, my Geordie accent's getting a little bit better. Marvin Richards, bloody hell, son. Bloody hell. Thank you so much for the £50 super chat. There it goes. It's coming out again. I'm coming out. Thank you. Thank you. Your generosity is astounding to me. I also have had the need for muscle. I am more than happy to share my contacts when you need a weapon of last resort. I don't fix my own plumbing and I don't do my own fighting. You are Spartacus. Interesting. Very interesting. So what's the deal? I'll give you 50 quid and someone gets kneecapped. Is that it? Let's talk after the show. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm bloody joking. Oh, I need to get Phil Collins out of my head. It reminds me of American Psycho. Really badly. But thank you, Marvin. Bloody hell. Really, really appreciate it. I don't know if I'm allowed to. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about hired muscle, so to speak. I assume you're not being rude when you say that. I guess not, because you said fighting. Fighting. No fighting. Beta blockers I can't take because I have naturally, remarkably, I don't understand, but I have naturally low blood pressure. So I took one when I had a hangover once and I nearly passed out. I was so dizzy because my blood pressure went through the floor. I can't take beta blockers. Try having a panic attacks with a heart condition. Fuck that. Can never tell if it's panic or something cardiac. It's hard to know. You're eating fentanyl. Charlie is finally asleep. I'd also like to apply for the position of big chunk of man. If Charlie's having coffee, you're helping me deal with it. You're on your own, I'm afraid, when it comes to that. All I do is wind kids up. I do it to my brother's children too. I get them all hyped up and then just leave. It's a brilliant way to do things. Very good. It's one of my favourite things to do, actually, is winding up kids and getting them all excited and giving them Lego. My nephews called me Auntie Lego because I'd always give them Lego and then steal it and play with it because Lego's boss. To quote Graham with a quick recap. Graham Hughes. Politics Social, guys. You need to check him out. He's a ledge. Absolute bloody legend he is. So, yeah. I've done my rants for the evening, actually. There were things that I wanted to talk to you, and I think I've covered most of it. I've talked about radicalisation. I've talked about the people behind the march. I have chatted to you about, extremism. Closer to home radicalisation. There's other, I can't even remember. Sometimes I have to watch back broadcasts just to remember what the fuck I've been rambling about for an hour and a half. But if any of you do have any further questions to ask, ideally in relation to what we've talked about this evening, but it could be anything, as long as it's clean, then get them in the chat. Go on, you dicks. Thank you, Chris C, for a link to Politics Social. Oh, God, my voice is going a bit because I've been talking such bollocks for so long. Whew. So, yeah, give us... when I get, like, to a state of being kind of, like, on... Because live streams are proper stressful. Like, you've got to have all these ideas of what you're talking about in your head. You end up kind of going slightly mental. Well, I do. Blue Line Chelsea. £2. So much up. I'm on my own having a coffee at 9:40 p.m. Blue Line Chelsea, my dude, I think you might have ADHD. Especially if you can sleep. After that, my friend Dan used to have a coffee, then a nap, and he would be fine. He would be fine. Like sleeping later. Like it made him tired. It's good to take talks with normal people instead of ranting all the time, I think. I try to slip in the rants. Like, if there is anything that you would like me to rant about, then let me know. Although I think that I have reached the point where my voice is croaky. I've got 3 big events to go to tomorrow as well in London, like 3 big events. One is I'm attending quite poignantly and aptly a thank you, Alistair, for shouting out the Bin podcast. They're legends. They're great. They're awesome Americans. I'm attending a roundtable event about violence against women and girls and online abuse at Parliament tomorrow. Also attending another thing closer to home and another thing. So I can't go into what the other things are, but they're pretty interesting. I don't know about Andy Burnham. Simon Metcalf, it sounds like you're winning at Sunday evening. Your twin can drink a mug of coffee just before bed. Probably has ADHD then. Phil Nelson, respect your preparation and can see your notes very thorough and more than I have written in the last 6 months. This book here contains, like, this is my most recent one. My last book, this is since the 7th of August, right? This is since the 7th of August. And that's me writing fewer notes than... Oh, no, hang on. It goes on. And it goes on. And it goes on. And it goes on. This is since the 7th of August. My last notebook, I've got about 15 of these. And my last notebook lasted about 4 months. So... Do flagshaggers move to certain parts of Essex to get an SS postcode? I think that's near Basildon, I think. CBD oil doesn't touch the sides, mate. Oh, sorry, I was trying to suppress a yawn, but it looked terrifying. Vegan Barnsley. Keep ranting, Tan. ADHD, anti-fash, solidarity. Back at you, vegan Barnsley. Back at you, lad. Massively appreciate it. I'm so sorry about the accent. It's Zach Polanski, and you're not voting for him unless he's your local MP. You're not voting for a populist leader. I despise all facets of populism. How's the tooth? Asked Kelvin Griffin. I had my first part of what was supposed to be a root canal earlier this week, and it went really well. They plugged the gap. They didn't remove the nerve, and it's better. So I'm hoping that this can be fixed without a further root canal and just a filling. But yeah, I'm on the way to getting that fixed. Blue Lion Chelsea, who knows? Maybe I do have ADHD, it's possible. But honestly, the reason I'm drinking coffee is just because I'm so happy to have found this community after the disappointment of yesterday's news. Welcome, one and all. Welcome to the party, pal. Welcome to the party. You are very welcome. Urine infective. I can drink a Monster before bed. You shouldn't drink that stuff. It's very bad for you. It will destroy you. It'll destroy your insides. Benny. Tan's Rants. Available to all good retailers. It's not. It's really not. Well, you guys aren't very forthcoming with the questions, so I think I'm gonna fuck off really soon. Trevor Owen, the meaning of your handle. Are you a tanky? Fuck no. It's not tanky. It's Tansky. And the reason for that, I've met Gina Miller before. She's sound. I've met her a few times actually, including at a Brexit fucking hell, like a reverse Brexit event. She's really nice. I like her a lot. My nickname for years was Tansky, with 3 eyes. Like my mates always used to call me that. And the only reason that there's a super in front of it, it's a pseudonym that's haunted me that I should have changed much more early on. Like I should have changed it to a name. It's it was added because Tansky was already taken with 3 eyes on TikTok when I started making videos. So I just added super in the front, and then it has haunted me. And because that's what people know me as, it's too late to change it. I'm in over my head. When's the next live? Possibly. Might do a brief one on a Wednesday, but if not, I might just stick to a Sunday. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. I'm trying to figure out whether or not I should do one on a Wednesday yet. Because I think that a Sunday, I like the format and the way of doing it on a Sunday. So, yeah. Cal Nelson. Anyway, have a nice day, night. Glad to have found your channel. You seem intelligent. I got to go now. Bye, Cal. Thank you for the feedback. It's silly, man. I don't like it. Super was just like a girl that I know or used to know who I did not like whatsoever used to call herself wrongly Super Sarah. And that came into my head. And I was like, well, I'll just be Super Tansky because I am super. And it stuck, you know. So I was poaching her name. Oh, yeah, Stand Up to Trump rally this Wednesday. Oh God, I forgot about him. Oh, what a wanker. Oh, Andy Saffer. Yeah, he's on my radar. Yeah. Yeah. I'm building a case about all that. I'm just checking out the facts about it because I don't want to spread misinformation myself. So I'm looking through for some credible sources on it before I talk about it. Because A, don't need to get sued, and B, I'm not in the habit of sharing unverified information. So it's what the other side does. Loza Fox calls me super wanksky. He fucking wishes. Lawrence Fox, the man that Billie Piper wishes that she could unfuck. AR, thank you for the £10 super chat. Might be my last one here. Do you think more Labour MPs will defect the Green Party now Zach Polanski is leader? Hard to tell, really. Time will tell with all of this, really. It really depends on, more than anything, how Labour handles things, doesn't it? Because they have not handled things very well whatsoever. So if they continue to fuck up, probably, yeah. Although we do need a coalition of the progressives and the left broadly to fight the far right, and it's not helping having, you know, fringe parties like your party who are shambolic, frankly, splitting votes away from like the Greens or the Lib Dems or Labour, because it's going to have to be all hands on deck to not let the far right win. And I don't give a fuck about personal likes or dislikes as long as the far right don't win. And I don't like that that's our only choice, but it is our only choice. So, oh God, I'm losing my voice. Trump's not looking well recently. Shame. Yeah. What a shame. Nia Andrea, I came out as trans about a year ago. I started getting anxious, got progressively tired, and my executive functions got worse. Dysfunction. Signed off work for 3 months. Turns out it might be autistic. Never knew. It could be AID or DHD, you know. But congratulations on becoming yourself. But yeah. Oh God, you sat through it. Jesus. I'm so sorry. Like, because I've been talking for so long, my throat is getting a bit like, But anyway, it's time for me to fuck off because I can't physically talk as much. I'm doing a very bad job. I'm getting a sore throat. I really hope it's not an illness because I've got to do a lot tomorrow. From very early in the morning. I'll be back. Clive Lewis is a darling to me. I would, if I could have any Labour MP become Prime Minister, it would be Clive Lewis. He is a hero. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you to Chris C. Thank you for Alistair Kerr. Thank you to Sarah for watching. Thank you for Keith Donachie. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Thank you to Diz. Thank you to Milky. Thank you to AR. Thank you to Marvin, Richard, for your amazing super chat and your slightly illegal insider information. Both super chats, actually. Thank you so much. Thank you all for the support this evening. Thank you for tuning in to listen to me talk absolute bollocks for nearly 2 hours. Well, not quite, because I was late, as I always bloody am. But yeah, thank you. Thank you, Yuri, to you and Charlie. And thank you to Kirsty Hamilton. Thank you to all of you. I'm running out of Billy Kershaw. I will be back definitely, if not Wednesday. If I can squeeze one in on Wednesday, I will. But there's a good chance I might be in London for the demo, actually. Blue Line Chelsea, welcome to the channel. And but I'll definitely be back around this time, roughly-ish, who knows, next Sunday. And until then, thank you, good night, and fuck the fash, yeah.